The day Stella met Kelvin, I felt something shift in the air. Like the house itself knew danger had entered our world. He came into her life wrapped in charm and polished words, the kind of man who knew how to say everything a lonely woman wanted to hear. He wasn't poor, he dressed well, smelled of expensive cologne, and had that easy smile that made people trust him. Stella, after years of being alone, was drawn to his gentleness, or what looked like it. She believed it was finally time to move on, to give Miriam a father figure. But from where I watched, I could see what her eyes couldn't. Behind that handsome face was darkness. Kelvin came around often, bringing gifts, flowers for Stella, toys for Miriam. I noticed the way his gaze lingered too long when he looked at the child. My heart grew heavy, and I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake the walls until someone heard me, but all I could do was watch. Stella was happy again, and that blinded her. She'd laugh at his jokes, cook for him, and sometimes sit outside under the moonlight, talking to him about me. I could see how she missed companionship. She needed someone to fill the empty space I left behind. After a year of dating, she accepted his proposal. I remember that night, clearly. She sat on the bed, smiling through tears, whispering to my picture, "Kenneth, I hope you understand. I can't stay alone forever." I wanted to tell her no. I wanted to beg her to listen to her spirit, but it was too late. The wedding was small and quiet. Kelvin moved into our house, the same house I built for Stella with love. The first few months were peaceful, almost too peaceful. He acted like a perfect husband and father. He took Miriam to school, helped her with homework, and even knelt with them during prayers. But I could sense his heart wasn't clean. Then, things changed. Miriam was 5 when I noticed her laughter start to fade. She no longer played freely around the house. She avoided her stepfather, always hiding behind her mother or locking herself in her room. One evening, I heard her whisper to Stella in a trembling voice, "Mommy, I don't like when Daddy touches me." Stella turned sharply, shocked. "Miriam, don't talk like that. He's your father now. Respect him." Tears rolled down the little girl's face, but her mother walked away, too embarrassed to believe what she heard. I wanted to hold my daughter, to tell her she wasn't alone. My anger burned like fire, but I was powerless. I screamed his name, "Kelvin!" but he couldn't hear me. Only Miriam seemed to feel my presence. Sometimes, when he approached, she'd turn toward the empty corner of the room and whisper, "Daddy, please protect me." Each time she said those words, the walls trembled. My spirit grew stronger with her cries, but nothing could stop what was coming. One night, I saw Kelvin enter her room again. Miriam's small body trembled in fear. I rushed forward, screaming, pounding invisible fists on his chest, but he didn't even flinch. That night, I knew the devil himself lived in my home. The night it happened still burns in my soul. I remember the moon. It hung low and red, like it knew something terrible was about to happen. The house was quiet, too quiet. Stella had gone for her night shift at work. Kelvin stayed behind, pretending to be a loving stepfather, putting his daughter to bed. But I knew better. I had watched him for weeks, his evil growing bolder every night. That evening, Miriam was sitting on her bed, clutching her teddy bear. Her big eyes were wet with tears. I stood by her side, helpless, trying to comfort her with whispers she couldn't hear. Then I heard his footsteps. Slow, heavy, intentional. The door creaked open, and Kelvin's dark figure filled the doorway. He smiled, an ugly, twisted smile that made my spirit shake with rage. "Miriam," he said softly, "come here. Daddy wants to tell you a story." She froze, hugging the teddy tighter. "I don't want a story," she whispered. He stepped closer. "Don't make me angry." I screamed, my voice echoing through the room, though no one could hear it. "Leave her alone!" I tried to push him, but my hands passed through him like smoke. I struck the wall in fury. The picture frame of Stella and I fell and shattered. Miriam's head turned toward it, her little lips trembling. She could sense me. Kelvin flinched at the sound, but brushed it off. He grabbed her. She screamed. She kicked. She cried out for her mother. And then, silence. My world went still. I looked at Miriam's small, lifeless body on the floor and felt something inside me break forever. I roared in agony. My scream shook the curtains, flickered the lights, cracked the mirror. Kelvin, panting and sweating, stared around the room, terrified. But when he saw no one, he whispered shakily, "She fell. It wasn't my fault." He knelt beside her body, panic twisting his face. Then he did the unthinkable. He carried her tiny body out of the room. I followed, my fury growing heavier than thunder. He went outside, behind the compound where the air was still. He dug into the earth with trembling hands. Each strike of the shovel cut through my spirit like a blade. When he finished burying her, he covered the ground quickly and sealed it with cement. "No one will ever know," he muttered, wiping his tears. But the earth knew. It groaned under him. I felt it. The soil itself rejected the secret it was forced to keep. I whispered through the cold air, "You can hide her from the world, Kelvin, but not from God." Minutes later, Stella came home, cheerful and tired. She called out for Miriam. No answer. She checked the rooms, the backyard, the garden, nothing. Kelvin rushed to her, pretending to panic. "I came home and couldn't find her," he lied. "I thought she went to play with the neighbors." Stella screamed her daughter's name until her voice cracked. Neighbors gathered. The police were called. Flashlights searched every corner of the street. Posters were printed. Stella cried until she fainted. And through it all, Kelvin played the perfect husband, holding her, comforting her, acting broken. I stood there, watching the man who murdered my child wipe Stella's tears with the same hands that buried her. That night, I made a promise. He would never know peace.
The days after Miriam disappeared were the longest of my existence. I hovered in every corner of our home, watching Stella. Her despair was endless, crying, begging for help, searching the streets, calling her daughter's name, involving neighbors, even the police. They calmed the neighborhood, checking every corner, asking every neighbor, but Miriam was nowhere to be found. Kelvin played his role perfectly. He was heartbroken, holding Stella's hand, walking alongside the police, crying with her, whispering gentle words. But I could see through his act. Every lie he uttered burned like acid in my spirit. At night, strange things began to happen. Shadows moved across the walls. Objects fell without explanation. Whispers of a little girl echoed through the empty rooms. Stella began waking up crying, saying she heard Miriam calling her name. I was with her, always, but invisible. And then one night, Stella followed the voice into the backyard. She had awakened from a dream, Miriam's small voice crying softly, "Mama, help me." Her heart guided her to the patch of earth where Kelvin had buried my daughter. The soil was cracked, and faint light glimmered from it, as if the earth itself was refusing to hide the truth. Stella fell to her knees, screaming Miriam's name, pounding the ground with her fists. Kelvin ran out, finally panicked. His act of innocence crumbled. "Stella, wait! I can explain!" he shouted. But she no longer listened. Suddenly, Miriam appeared, not in the flesh, but as a glowing, peaceful spirit. She reached out to Stella, her eyes full of love and forgiveness. Stella collapsed, holding the air where her daughter's arms reached. The sight of her little girl's spirit struck Kelvin like lightning. His knees buckled. He began screaming, confessing everything: the lies, the assaults, the hiding, the murder. I stood behind him, my spirit roaring with the weight of vengeance and grief. The air was thick, charged with something that neither man nor woman could resist. Kelvin fell to the ground, trembling, his face ashen, as the house seemed to echo with my voice. Some blessings arrive late, but they are never denied. Wait on God. Protect the innocent. Do not ignore the cries of those who cannot fight for themselves. Those who harm the pure will face justice, one way or another. Stella clutched my daughter's spirit and wept. She finally understood. She had failed Miriam in life, but she could honor her in memory and spirit. She turned to Kelvin, whose body shook with terror. "You will pay for what you did," she whispered, her voice stronger than I had ever heard it. The moral was clear, and it cut through every soul present. Patience, faith, and protection of the innocent were more important than wealth, status, or comfort. Our love, our time, our children, these are the true blessings God gives, and if they are stolen, justice in some form will always come. I watched them: Stella, broken but awake; Kelvin, defeated by his own evil; and Miriam, radiant and free in the spirit world. A strange calm settled over the mansion. My job was done. I had seen my daughter, my wife, and justice restored, at least in part. Even in death, I smiled, and I whispered one last time to the wind that carried my voice across Abuja: some blessings arrive late, but they are never denied. Wait on God.
Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't leave without subscribing. More powerful tales await you.